I was in primary school at the time. I think a girl came up to me. She called me a monster.
Oh,
At the
that's
time,
hilarious.
really got to me, but I think the more I've thought about it, it could be like anything. Just realizing that I don't have to be amazing at everything and be so brave and like wear short sleeves all the time to be confident and to feel confident. I think that's really important.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Offhand, the podcast by Reach, where we share real, honest conversations about life with an upper limb difference. I'm Megan, I'm the social media manager for Reach, and I'm also a content creator. In this episode, we're going to be talking about confidence and specifically the reality that confidence isn't always constant. There can sometimes be pressure to appear positive or resilient all the time, especially within disability conversations. But in reality, confidence ebbs and flows. And today we're going to be joined by Leah. Welcome back.
Hiya, nice to be back.
Nice to have you back. How have you been?
Yeah, good. Very, very busy since last time.
What have you been up
Very
to?
busy. Well, we had that lovely visit at
We did.
Parliament, so that's
Yeah, we
kept
went to
us
Parliament.
all quite busy. And then work, got a new car, just everything's changed.
That's brilliant. That's great. And as we said, so today we're going to discuss how our confidence might change throughout age, life, different situations. And I feel like it's really important to maybe reflect on the fact that just because you might feel confident one day, you might not another day. And I think that's where we're going to start. So Leah, how do you feel maybe your confidence has changed from growing up with a limb difference compared to now, would you say?
I'd say it was definitely a journey, as as much as that word comes in to all of these episodes. No, it's definitely yeah, it's a huge thing. 'Cause I think as a kid, I never met anyone who had a limb difference, or to be honest, any kind of disability. So I didn't really know how to be. It felt like there was a lot of pressure to be sort of really inspiring in this constant, oh, you're so brave.
Mm,
Which it felt very pressuring at the time as a kid growing up and still going through surgeries. It was constantly like a fluctuating thing where my arm didn't always look like that. So my confidence would kind of change. And then obviously I'm growing, so I'm getting taller. So I'm very
hmm
tall as well. So I was always quite paranoid about that. But I think sort of now at 23, I'm probably the most confident I've ever been. Um, Sort of height wise, arm wise, and then because I'm in such a lovely community with Reach,
Oh,
it's definitely boosted my confidence within having these conversations, and all the opportunities that come up with it, really.
that's amazing. That's really good to hear. And I think, yeah, definitely I can relate to younger not being as confident at all. I don't actually know at what age I realised I had an upper limb difference. Not a clue when it might have dawned on me that I was different from everyone else. Some people do have these like moments where they remember it, but I don't. But I just remember in my teenage years hiding it for sure. I think I touched upon this before, but I used to wear a sweatband on my left arm, which made no sense because I thought in my head that kind of covered it a bit, where actually it probably drew attention. But it was like my safety blanket, I guess. And it just took me a while one day to actually take it off. Did you ever used to do anything like that at all?
Yeah, I always used to wear long sleeves, and I guess because my wrist is quite big, I probably couldn't do a sweatband without cutting my circulation off. Um, but yeah, definitely a lot of long sleeves, sort of, the sleeves that you put your thumb through, like the proper thermals. I
Yes.
always used to wear them, which was a bit of an issue when it came to like school uniforms and stuff, when it came to
Ah,
blazers and trying to
yes.
get stuff that fits. So I've definitely opened up fashion wise to sort of, short sleeves, sort of anything and everything I want to wear, really. I think I'm a lot better with that. I was really paranoid before. I had to
Mm.
wear a long sleeve all the time, no matter the temperature.
I think a lot of people in our community can definitely relate to that. And today, if you're not physically watching this, physically, is that the word? You aren't wearing any sleeves today. So that's wonderful to see, Leah.
No,
Love it.
I know.
I think that's a good point, especially, obviously we're in the UK, you wear a school uniform, you have to conform. And then there's all these different ways that we might want to hide our limb difference, or the fact is that obviously we're going to have a long sleeved blazer. For me, for example, my arm is shorter, and so therefore my blazer sleeve was obviously longer, so was my jumper. And I remember used to obviously have it dangling, I guess. And I just remember there was one time where children came up to me and were like, why is your sleeve like that or something? And I don't even remember what I said, but that was just like a vivid thing in my mind of like, obviously people had noticed that I was covering my hand. I think at some point my mum did start to actually adapt clothing. Bless her. But it's difficult, isn't it, when you're going through when you're growing so quickly, I guess, and going through different uniforms and whatnot, that you have to adapt to everything. Did you find that was difficult? Did you find a way around it, Leah?
Yeah, I found there are a few sort of nasty instances, which, as you say, is usually kids. And I
Mm.
remember I was in primary school at the time. So I had like, I think it was like a grey cardigan or something. And I remember I felt quite confident wearing that cardigan.
Mm.
But I think a girl came up to me. I'm not sure how young or old she was, but she called me a monster, which
Oh,
at the
that's
time
hilarious.
really got to me because I don't know the context. I was just in the playground. But of course I took that to heart thinking, "Oh my God, she's saying that about my arm." And that's instantly what my head went to, and
Mm.
that it was directed towards me. But I think the more I've thought about it, it could be like anything.
Yes.
But it just showed me like how low my confidence was because I remember I bawled my eyes out thinking, "Oh my God, I've been called a monster. Like I can't hide this. I don't know what to do about it." And that was a real sort of knock to my confidence and self-esteem to the point where I think the rest of the week I had like 2 jumpers on or something just to
Oh my
make it look a bit
goodness.
more. I know, it was so ridiculous.
Um,
But yeah, there's certainly been comments that people have said like, "Oh, what is that?" I remember there was another time where there was a fun run, and I was so brave at the time because I was at an all-girls school, which I don't yeah, can be a tough environment, let's just say that. And, I was doing a fun run and I was wearing a short sleeve shirt as you would while you're running. And I remember someone thought that I'd actually done a prosthetic, as in, like, I'd done makeup on my arm, and they were like, "Is it real?"
oh
And I
wow.
remember being so confused at the time, like, What do you mean?" Because I had a wig on as well, so I was like, "The hair's not real."
To be fair, there's a bit of
Um,
like, yeah, the had a
I
wig
know,
on.
so I was so confused, and then they said, "No, your arm," and I was like, Um, I didn't actually know what to say, and I got upset because it
Oh.
was a big thing in my head. I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna do this fun run. Everyone else is wearing a vest. Why can't I wear a vest?"
Yeah.
And I remember at the time making the decision and being like, "Just be confident within that decision." And I was, and then that question kind of really made me stumble because I was like, "Does it really look that just strange?" So there have definitely been a lot of comments, but I think it's just one of those things of, like, reminding myself, context-wise, maybe they are just thinking, "Oh, well, it's a fun run, it could be anything." You could be dressed as, I don't know, Freddy Krueger to Cat in the Hat to anyone and everything.
Exactly,
Um,
yeah. So they, in that context, actually, maybe it made sense they questioned it. But if that had been just walking down the street, is it real? It
exactly.
obviously still isn't just nice to be asked that. But considering I don't know what wig you're wearing, but I guess it might have been like, oh, what's this whole get up? Like,
It
woo.
was Yeah, yeah. At the time, I was like, "It's really not. If you wanna take it off and wear it, that's fine." Um But yeah, no, it was very strange, but I still finished the fun run, which I think I was quite chuffed about in the
Well, well
end.
done. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe it
but
made
I'm
you run
sure you've had
faster.
loads of comments as well. I think it's just one of those things of trying to get familiar, and used to it really.
Yeah. Definitely when I was younger, I hated being asked about it or it being pointed out, I guess. Still strange as you get older anyway. But I think adults often just won't say anything, will they? They'll just look. And
Yeah.
they've clocked it, but they're not going to ask, whereas kids obviously are very different. Do you feel that obviously situations like that did knock your confidence? And
Yeah, no, it
then
massively did.
what do you feel has made you become more confident over time, would you say?
Um, I think it's a lot of the people I surround myself with,
Mm,
was the main thing. So when I went to university, sort of tried out loads of different groups, loads of different clubs and stuff. Some of the girls I got with, I probably shouldn't have because it was all very much, the best makeup, the best clothes, night clubbing every night, and I wasn't quite made up for that.
oh,
But I think it was sort of like my good friends from home, and they always sort of grounded me within like it. Why are they asking you questions? Like you
mm,
wouldn't say that to someone else. Um, and I think just surrounding myself with those kind of people, it really did help. And then also, once I got a bit more involved with Reach, a lot of the opportunities that came up meant that I was surrounding myself with people who have had the same experiences, who have thought the same things.
exactly.
And I
Mm,
think just by other people, just by you saying someone's said that before,
mm,
it makes me feel a bit more confident within myself that I'm not like this weird alien, and that there's something wrong with me. I think that's the main thing is if someone points it out, it's like, oh, there's something wrong, where it's no, it's just something that's quite obvious that you can see.
mm.
So I think it's coming to that realization and a lot of therapy. um, yeah, I'm not afraid to say that.
That's great. I think whatever works for you. You did mention this to me before that you actually had hypnotherapy to come to terms with losing your thumb. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it was a bit of a strange experience. I remember when I had my thumb amputated, and it wasn't really by choice. The condition that I've got, which I guess you could call as macrodactyly, it meant that my thumb was really quite large, and that meant all of the blood vessels, all of the sort of bones, the nail
Mm,
itself was really painful. So they had to amputate it. But at the ripe age of 6, I didn't fully understand that.
mm. Yeah,
So when they
imagine.
amputated it, my mum, bless her, was looking at sort of different therapies and stuff to try and process that.
Mm.
And that ended up being hypnotherapy, which at first I was like, I can't see this working at all. But I have vague memories of this like house that I built my thumb. Um,
Oh,
which was
really?
actually so sweet thinking back on it, because the lady who sort of put me under, she was like, "Oh no, I can really tell that it helped you process it." And I think that was the thing of just trying to compartmentalize, if I can say that, that it's in a house, that it's
Mhm.
somewhere else, but like you were kind of in control of that. So it was definitely a strange experience, but it did help in terms of like processing that it's no longer there. I'm good with that. It doesn't feel like I've got that constant reminder. That being said, I do still have my a few muscles from my thumb in my hand, so I it does still kind of feel as if you're moving your thumb, which is a bit strange, but I can deal with it.
Yeah. Is that called phantom limb, maybe?
I don't know. I
I'm
don't
not
know
actually
whether it's
sure.
just because the muscle itself, I can contract it.
Yeah.
So it feels like, yeah, like I'd be texting with my thumb. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's phantom because
No,
I know
because
it's
the
not
muscles are
there. I know
working.
I'm not going to smack it on anything.
Don't
I
know.
think it's just like a muscle thing.
Yeah.
Any
Oh,
doctors out there,
interesting.
you'll know.
Yeah. I think that's a really lovely way of what your mum did for you there with hypnotherapy, and even now the fact that you can remember it's still in this nice house. I absolutely love that. I think that's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know why, I think that's just the sweetest thing
I
ever.
know. I think looking back on it, it's actually so sweet to like. It had a little house. It had a little door, window.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it's living its little happy life.
very cute. Yeah.
And like you said, like recently coming back to Reach has helped with your confidence. Uh, and same for me, like we were all at Parliament that day, for example, weren't we? And I think it's when you are suddenly in a room with multiple different people who we are all different for one another, but we all have a similar thing in the fact that we have a limb difference. It's just like subconsciously, I personally feel myself feeling more confident in the maybe I sit, the movements I do that I don't even realize that I'm doing differently otherwise. All of a sudden, you just feel more like at peace, I guess, in yourself. Did you find that way?
Definitely. I felt so at ease. I think it's because everyone in the room was sort of vaguely my age, I guess. And because
Yeah.
we were all talking about sort of, what community means to us. I remember I nearly cried because I was like, this is such a nice environment to be in. And I
Mm.
realize how important it is to me.
Um,
And I think at the end of that day, I came home and I was like, that was honestly like the best day. Even recording that episode, that opportunity to do that was just crazy. And I still, I'm messaging the people from that
oh, really?
podcast, which I would have never done. And it's given me so many other avenues. Because I think I just found someone else who has macrodactyly, which I've never ever found. So it gives me so many opportunities to meet people like me, which it's such a rare condition that I don't know how else I'd find anyone.
No, that's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. So if people don't know, when you become a member of Reach, you can access closed Facebook groups. And I know this is a thing that not everyone's on Facebook of a particular age, maybe. So we may need to look at that offering to the younger adults, shall we say. But yeah, I saw this post that someone posted, and I was like, I think this is the same, condition essentially that Leah has, but that the doctors never diagnosed you with. And you said they never knew what your disability was, for example. And you were just like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, I think this is it. And you're like, I think it is.
I know,
It's
honestly,
just
that was
crazy, isn't it?
crazy. I mean, it just shows you what social media can do. I mean, I don't need to tell you, But yeah, so that started a conversation that I never would have had. So yeah, I think it's just the people you surround yourself with. I mean, what are the chances?
Yeah, exactly. You're not alone. And I think there's another part to this where seeing other people online with limb differences, personally for me, really helped me become more confident. And there are so many people out there who are really confident. But I think that's not everyone. It's a bit like when everyone says, well, if you've got a limb difference, are you a Paralympian? Like, no, I can barely run. I used to run, to be fair, but I don't now. But I think it's that same thing of like, oh, well, if you've got a limb difference, then maybe you should be really accepting and brave and showing it, and you're inspiring. And like I said, like, not a lot of us like that terminology of being inspiring. We're literally just tying our shoelaces.
Yeah, agreed.
Some of us do hike mountains and stuff. Now that is inspiring, gotta be said. Like, regardless of how you do it. But if you're
Uh,
just tying your shoelaces, it's a bit patronising, isn't it?
yeah, no, when I saw all the promotion for the triathlon, I was thinking, I don't really think I want to do that.
Are you
Um,
sure, Leah?
very, I go to the gym every once in a while, but I think there's a limit to that. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean because I don't want to say I have a social media following, but I'm on social media. But I think because I do sort of this and I've done a few other podcasts, it makes me feel like there is that pressure to be like constantly showing my arm and constantly
Mm,
showing that I'm confident and I've got to sort of put on this, I don't know, I don't want to say front because
mm,
sometimes I'm really confident with it and
mhm.
I'll be very happy to be in a room full of other people from Reach or any of the other charities. But I think that pressure in itself, as you say, you just want to live your life. I don't really want everything to constantly be in the public eye or scrutinized or be worrying about how I'm presenting myself to like younger people. I know that sort of comes with being on social media, which
Mm,
I'm fully aware of, but I think that definitely can take a toll on your confidence.
definitely. I think, like any, like every human being will have good days and we have bad days. And sometimes we might not be in the right headspace to explain ourselves almost to someone, because sometimes that is what you feel like you have to do sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes you might bump into a stranger who asks you and you're like, yeah, I'll tell you, and that's fine. And you're, in a way, you're creating awareness and educating in a way. And other days you're like, do you know what? I don't actually have the mental capacity or even the time.
Yeah.
And at the same time, sometimes it's just not your business. And so I think it's just like it really does ebb and flow with how we are feeling. And I think I just want to say to everyone who's like, well, maybe I'm not that confident about my limb difference. It's not to say that everyone has to be confident about their limb difference. Obviously, I hope you will become one day and everyone embraces and accepts who they are, because I think we're all amazing. But there's this pressure to maybe feel like you have to. And some people just don't ever reach that point, or they may, and then they may take a few steps back. And I think that's just a natural way of life and the way that we adapt to our surroundings and who we are. What
Yeah.
do you
I
feel,
think it's
Amelia?
definitely getting, I don't want to say better, but in terms of representation, like Gemma's out there, Jesse's out there, you're out there, and suddenly I'm very aware of that, which makes me feel a lot more comforted knowing that there are people who I guess look like me out there. But
That's
I
great to
guess
hear.
it's the type of content. So it's more sort of, there's an interview or you're just, you know, what is it? OOTD of outfit of the day and just bits and bobs like that that I'll watch and I'll like because I know that it's just sort of free flowing rather than sort of, yeah, kind of presenting yourself and presenting your limb difference.
Hmm.
I think that makes a difference for me
Yeah.
anyway.
Oh, that's really good to hear. Yeah. And have you found that representation on TV, for example, has helped? Because we've had um, obviously Molly Pierce and now Nettie in The Traitors. I love the fact
I
they've had two people with upper
know.
limb differences. Like, I hope
I
every
know.
series
It's
they
just
have one.
every once in a while I have to remind myself that there are other people with limb differences because it can be so isolating going, I don't know, on a bus or something, you don't see
Mm.
anyone. But then suddenly I'm watching TV and I'm like, it's just, oh, it's so exciting. And honestly, I'm so glad that we're reaching that stage. Because it shouldn't have to be something that we're like constantly campaigning for, especially in
Exactly.
television. Because I mean, Bridgerton, for
Mm.
example, they've got everyone and anyone included.
Hmm.
And that shouldn't really be an exception, I guess. We shouldn't constantly have to like petition for it. So I'm really glad that we're getting somewhere. And it definitely helps.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think it's really, really helpful for a lot of different people to see. And so, if anyone is thinking of putting themselves out there, whether that's on social media or becoming an actor, then go ahead.
Which do you feel?
I don't have acting skills, sadly.
Well, I don't know. You're on social media all the time. There's a certain, you know,
Oh, if I have to
presentation.
act anything out though.
Yeah, yeah, choreography, scripts. Yeah.
Is there any other than obviously hypnotherapy that you did? Obviously, we've talked about maybe becoming a member of Reach and being around other people that have upper limb differences. Is there anything else that you might suggest that could help with someone's confidence?
Yeah, I think when I was growing up, it was always like an emphasis on stuff you can't do. So like
Mm.
gymnastics, I can't do a headstand, handstand. There's all of the stands I couldn't do. And I think as a kid, I was so fixated on that I didn't try. Because I was so scared about, the other girls are looking or, there's a boy and he's laughing or something.
Mm.
But I think the older I've got, not that I'm that old. I have to say that all the time and I have to remind myself I'm really not that old. But I've started trying like new stuff. I guess because I'm out of recovery as well, I'm now allowed to, but I've started
Mm.
kayaking, which I didn't think I'd be able to do because I didn't think I'd be able to hold the what do you call it, paddleboard, I guess. I do paddleboarding as well.
Amazing.
I can do yoga, but it's not as good as it used to be. So it's just sort of like, I want to say pushing the boundaries, but within reason. I haven't done skydiving or bungee jumping or anything like that. If my surgeon's listening, I really haven't done that.
I
So
feel like you're gonna
yeah,
have to hold on to that so you could just go for it, no?
I know, I know. I mean, maybe I can, but I think it's just trying out stuff that you didn't think you'd be able to do.
Yeah.
That's really built my confidence because then I went kayaking and yes, I had to adapt it in a certain way. And then same with paddleboarding, I couldn't stand up for very long or my arm got a bit tired, but like, so what? In my head, I was like, I'm just so happy that I could do it and I could do it fairly decently, I'd like to say.
Well
So that's
done.
built my confidence. And then I think weirdly, I'm getting to the stage now where I'm quite happy to see other people's reactions. So if
Oh,
I go
nice.
into the gym and now I've
Mm.
started doing the weights, I mean, not
Mm.
like 70 kg or something, I'm not that good. But I've noticed other people in the gym who are like, I don't want to say gym bros, but they go to the gym very often. I can notice that they see my hand, but they don't necessarily say anything. And thank God they don't, because I wouldn't be able to do the technique that they do because I don't have a thumb and I don't have a finger.
Mm.
So yeah, that's really built my confidence as well, um, which is a bit of a new thing. And then also getting a new car as well, because it's got a button on top of the handbrake, which means that it's really easy to put the handbrake up and down. So it's just small things like that have built my confidence, which make me feel like I can do a lot more.
Amazing. I love that. It's just a bit like realizing what you're actually capable of rather
Exactly.
than thinking things that you can't do. I mean, that's really putting me to shame, Leah, because whenever
Sorry.
this is making me laugh now. Don't let Whitney hear this, my wife, because whenever we've like gone on press trips, for example, they love to make us go kayaking or something. I just sit in the boat.
Oh
I sit
God.
at the front all pretty and I let Whitney
Oh.
kayak behind me.
Well, couple
I'm
goals.
like,
You know,
oh,
one person could do the work and the other can't. It's
yeah. And then
fine.
we're like literally like far behind everyone else. But someone's got to film and take content. So
Exactly.
got a role,
Exactly.
got a job. But maybe I should. And I know someone with a limb difference. She did a talk at Annual Family Weekend a couple of years ago now, I think. And she actually applied because Reach has an adaptation bursary. So if anyone is looking at specific adaptions, we can fund some of them and apply for it. And she got one to go on a kayak that she travelled with. So there are adaptions out there
There are.
if you need them, which is quite cool. And maybe next time when I'm made to kayak, I'll look into it in advance. Who knows if I'll do it?
Or sailing or anything really.
Yeah. Anything. Well, I think the thing that's quite funny about a lot of Reach members, I don't know, I think it's funny, is that apparently a lot of us love to do rock climbing. It's a thing.
I don't know how. That's the one
That's
thing
not
that I
my
know
thing.
I'm not even going to attempt because
No.
I can't.
Well,
I don't know how I do it with one hand, but
there's apparently I don't know. It's just a thing that apparently a lot of people with upper limb differences can do. And a lot of them learn how to do it at the Reach activity weeks, which is raw, which is sadly a bit of out of our age range from when you're 10 to 17. Not actually that far for you really compared to me. But yeah, I think every year they do rock climbing and then they all kind of get a bit into it and then they continue it as well. And we have Max, who's the editor for Within Reach. And now she's like a mountain rescuer, which I think is really amazing.
oh
So
my
cool.
God.
Yeah.
Well, now that's putting me to shame. Wow.
But maybe we should get some tips on rock climbing from when they do Raw, which is coming up soon, I believe. So yeah,
Exciting.
we should find out what they do, and then maybe you'd be like, you know what, next time I'm doing rock climbing.
Yeah, I can show that off. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that there's maybe a pressure on those of us who have a disability or upper limb difference to appear positive about our limb differences?
Yes, when I was starting this podcast, I realized that I didn't have to constantly talk about my limb difference being a positive thing or like positively impacting me, which it has done. I'm not saying it hasn't, but I think it was a good opportunity to sort of talk about surgery and stuff. And I think that was a bit of a realization to be like, I don't constantly have to put on this front of it being positive all the time and that I'm confident all the time. Because I'm not. We're all human. But I think it's just having that realization that I could have a great day today and then tomorrow, my hand would really hurt or I could hit it on something or I could chop something and it wouldn't be like chop a vegetable. And it wouldn't be as good as it would be today. So I think everything fluctuates. But yeah, I think that was just like a really good realization. And I think if anything, that would probably help my confidence journey, just realizing that I don't have to be amazing at everything and be so brave and like wear short sleeves all the time to be confident and to feel confident. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I agree, especially since I've had a daughter, there are days when I feel fine and there's days where I've been holding her for quite a long time. All of a sudden, like I'm really struggling now. And I'm like, someone has to take the baby. Hold her, please. And it's just like this realization of like, I can't do everything sometimes the same as everyone. And sometimes I can do it better than other people. So yeah, I think it just impacts on our confidence and how we feel, depending on just what is happening on that day. And for example, if you can like open a jar one day, great. And the other day, you can't. Or like it's the main bit you need in a meal and you just can't open it. There's nothing more frustrating than that, is there sometimes?
Yeah, no, agreed.
Well, on that random note, thank you very much for joining us, Leah.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really hope that you enjoyed the episode, and please do give us a follow or subscribe as to wherever you get your podcasts. And please do follow us at Reach Charity UK and come back for another episode of Offhand.